and welcome back to iProperty Radio with myself, Carol Tallon. You can contact us on social media at iProperty Radio or email hello@ipropertyradio.com. This week on Breaking Ground, I'm chatting to show regular Ralph Montague of ArcDocs to talk about the upcoming BIM Coordinators Summit, which is taking place in the RDS and online this September. Ralph, you're very welcome back. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Carol. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Ralph, the BIM Coordinators Summit, this took the industry by storm last year when everybody was in lockdown and there wasn't a lot happening. So talk to us about the BIM Coordinator Summit and the concept, first of all.
Yeah, well, actually, it started when COVID started. We offered at that time a free sort of program just to help people in that difficult period who wanted to find out about BIM. And we had a fantastic response. Over 5,000 people from around the world joined that program. And so last year we decided to host a summit to bring all these people back together. But we opened it up to the public, and we had almost 15,000 people from around the world register for this virtual event last year, which was an incredible response. And so what we're planning to do this year is to do a hybrid event. So as you mentioned, a live event in Dublin, but also to broadcast all of that internationally to sort of serve the whole community. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community of people who are interested in this sort of digital transition of the AEC sector. And that's our mission, I think, is we want to affect change in the sector, because, I mean, everybody knows the sector is vital to society. It provides the buildings and infrastructure that support almost everything we do. But at the moment, it's very slow and expensive and dangerous and corrupt and wasteful and unsustainable. And even in a first world country like Ireland, I mean, the sector is failing to deliver the housing, the education, the healthcare, transport, energy needs of our society. So, and it's even worse.
Do you think that's an industry failure?
Well, it is the industry that has to deliver that infrastructure. And, there's lots of debate about what's causing that failure, but definitely the digital transition of this industry could help improve a lot of that by making it more productive and more transparent and able to deliver on these needs. And because nothing comes about within the industry without information, and the quality of information that's produced to sort of execute the work impacts on the performance and outcome. So our mission is to raise the awareness of the value of information and drive adoption of these digital processes at scale. And that's really the way we're going to go about that, is to recognize and appreciate and celebrate the people in the industry who are delivering excellence at the moment in information management. So we call them the kind of BIM heroes of the architecture, engineering, and construction sector.
And are they all from the private sector? Because I know you're putting the blame kind of squarely on the industry, but surely the public sector has a huge role to play in this as one of the largest procurers and project managers within construction. So do you think, because
I'm not blaming anyone, I suppose that's important. And I don't see a sort of us and them situation. Like, the public sector is part of the industry. The public procurers are part of this industry. The private procurers are part of the industry. It's not sort of the delivery side versus the procurement side. Like, everybody is part of the sector, in my view. And together we have to solve this problem of delivering the infrastructure that the world needs. Not only in Ireland, but like around the world, like even in third world and developing countries. There's an enormous challenge, and we need to deliver that infrastructure in a way that is sustainable, that doesn't have a tremendous impact on our environment, because everybody knows that the construction sector is one of the worst polluters, in terms of waste of raw materials, the sort of production of CO2 and energy use, etc. So there's lots of problems, but we're not going to solve these problems by saying it's you against us, or I blame you, or whatever. We have to.
No, that's very.
We have to come together as a sector. We're all part of the sector. We all need the infrastructure, and we all benefit from the infrastructure. And we have to do that by transitioning from outdated practices to modern practices.
You're absolutely right, Rob. And over the last 12 months, we've seen a huge commitment from government in terms of the Build Digital initiative, and the upcoming Centre of Excellence for Construction. So we are seeing, on the face of it, public commitment to this. I know I ask you, and I ask most of our guests when we talk about digital construction, where Ireland is in terms of adoption. To my mind, looking almost from the outside, it feels like a lot has happened in the last 12 to 18 months. Is that just what I'm seeing? Is that an accurate representation of what's happening in the marketplace?
Well, I think definitely COVID has boosted the digital transition. People had to suddenly learn how to work and collaborate and cooperate across digital technologies rather than sort of in person. So that's definitely helped the situation. I think there's definitely an awareness, a greater awareness amongst the industry. There's still the challenge of the fragmented industry and people sort of reverting to what they know rather than trying something new. You know what I mean? So the outdated old school practices of paper documentation and those are fully embedded in society that it's very difficult to change it. Even our planning system. I mean, we've been talking about e-planning for many years, but you still have to submit 10 printed copies of your drawings to the planning authority. And then the planning authority then sort of attempts to scan those to sort of digitize it. It's very outdated. And so there's a lot of work to do.
It's interesting whenever we look at BIM, I get very excited about the progress that's been made. I get excited about the evolution, and then we bring it back to how it fits into the ecosystem that it has to fit into, as in going through our planning process and actually being used then by not just the project owners, but by the main contractor, by the subcontractors across the supply chain. And this is where we tend to see maybe some of the fractures within it. So I was genuinely surprised to see the sheer scale of the community that's now pulling together, because we know there's so many different drivers for tech adoption. So whether it's regulatory or whether it's efficiency, whether it's driven by different metrics, whether the ESG metrics around not just productivity but environment. A huge part, like the biggest nut to crack, is always the culture change. And here you kind of reversed that, you flipped it on its head. So you have this huge and growing community that's really pushing hard, almost beyond kind of maybe what the ecosystem is designed to do. So were you surprised to see the sheer number here? Because I know you mentioned there last year you had something like 15,000 people globally signed up. And I know that community has since grown to in excess of 17,000. That's a huge number of professionals all focused towards digital and kind of information management.
I think we changed the message. Like, I mean, we've been in this business for 13 years trying to work with clients and design teams, trying to change people. And I think we changed the message and we said, let's work with the people who want to change rather than trying to convince the people who don't want to change. And, so let's connect with people around the world who are genuinely interested in this way of working and are doing amazing work. So even within the difficult environments, procurement environments that everybody else has to work in, people have excelled and used these processes and technologies and standards and have driven amazing projects. So it can be done, and people have showed that. So we changed the focus to focus on those people and to recognize and appreciate those people and celebrate those people, like to put them out there as shining examples of what a possible future for this industry could be like, and is actually a reality in certain sectors, and so that's really what we're trying to do.
I think there's a life lesson in that, to work with the people who actually want to change rather than putting all your energy into trying to change the minds of the resistors. There's definitely kind of a life lesson, if not an industry lesson there.
Well, that's a reality, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen that book from Jeffrey Moore of the adoption of technologies, but there's a normal distribution curve, and at least 50% of people are going to be in the late majority and laggard category. And then within the other 50%, you have innovators and early adopters, and then the major early adopters, etc. So just to shift the focus from trying to convert the laggards who probably are just holding out to retire, don't really want to change, to the people who want to change. And,
I think that's a really powerful message. Tell me, who are you most excited about, or what are you most excited? What topics or which speakers are you most excited about for September's summit?
Well, so first, I suppose the topics. I mean, what I really love about this community is the focus has shifted from sort of design and construction to the whole life cycle. So we've divided the whole conference into 8 themes to cover everything from early stage planning and the client's needs to design and construction, obviously, but then operations and things like the golden thread of information, the digital twin, using immersive technologies and upcoming technologies, and down to really important subjects like data governance and making sure that information, the quality of information, is carried through all those stages. Looking at technical issues like interoperability, and then a big subject which I'm really passionate about is driving the competency. Digital competency is something that is really lacking in our sector. We have to educate not only young people, of course we have to educate young people and we have to give them the means to operate in a digital future, but the existing industry that's out there have to reskill, tool up, and become digitally competent. And so all those subjects are really important. And then we have speakers, like incredible speakers from around the world. We've got over 100 speakers lined up for that, covering those topics. So within each of those categories, we have keynote speakers and specialists. And then we also have some sort of specialist lounge areas. Obviously, one of them is the one we're talking to you about, but we want to showcase and demonstrate the very best in AEC technology and practice. We want to bring together professional practice. So we've got most of the professional bodies coming together in a space where they will talk about what each of the bodies are doing in relation to the digital adoption. And then your own spaces, we're talking about the place XR, like what is the future technology using the immersive technologies of AR, VR, and even the Metaverse. What does that mean to our sector in the future? So an incredible lineup. Yeah. I'm really excited about it.
There's a huge range there because, like, we might just go back. Obviously, I'm excited, and people are probably sick of me talking about, say, the immersive technology side, but I just see so much potential there. And the rise of digital twins has linked so nicely and enabled so much of our the aspirations we have for using immersive technology. So I think talking about the metaverse, it almost feels like an overlap. So it reminds me of when the term PropTech was coined, because what we realized is that there was people doing it maybe 6, 7, 8 years, and that the metaverse is a little bit like that. We've seen technology move in this direction, so now this movement has a name, but it almost doesn't add anything further to what was already being unleashed. And if anything, I wouldn't like to see it limited, because what we're seeing is that by having digital twins, that is just the start of unleashing the potential, not just for individual buildings, but across smart cities. So I'm so excited about what's happening.
But at the core of all that, Carol, is data. Information. So like these concepts of digital twins and metaverse, and they are they're just concepts until you have good quality information. If you still have all your information on printed documents sitting in a box in your basement of your building, yeah, it's not working for you. And
well, you know, and that brings us back to what I know is a key focus to you, and that is digital competency across the industry. Now, I know this summit is an international one; it's a global one, and there's huge numbers involved. But let's just take a step back and look at the Irish marketplace. Where are we in terms of? I know we've talked about digital adoption, but in terms of digital competency across the industry, where are we? How do we rank against other countries?
Well, I think we rank very well. I mean, if we just look at the numbers last year of 15,000 people registered, Ireland was in the top 3 of the countries. So we had people from over 100 countries registered, but in terms of numbers, Ireland was in the top 3. Now, of course, some of that's got to do with the fact that we're based in Ireland and we're promoting that. But still, I think it shows that Ireland is really up there with the best. And even this, looking at the community and even the registrations for this year, we're already at about just under 5,000 people that have already expressed an interest in this year's event, and we're still up there in the top. I think Ireland this year is actually still at the moment is number 1 of all the people interested. So there's a high interest. I think there's a really good competency in Ireland. Ireland in certain sectors is doing incredibly well and sort of servicing the European and other markets with its competency. But it's almost like we have a two-tier system, because there'll be other people in the industry that don't even know what BIM is. You say BIM and they think you're talking about Board Ishkamara, the Irish Fisheries Board. And so we have this bizarre situation where you have some really shining lights in the industry doing incredible work, and then a vast majority of the industry that's just not engaging.
Okay, well,
for whatever reason. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think there's another company in Ireland who is doing as much to drive engagement across the industry as yourself and the team at ArcDocs are doing. But so the range of topics is huge. But when you say 100+ speakers, that can almost seem overwhelming. So tell us, who are the kind of BIM rock stars or digital construction rock stars that we need to be looking out for?
Well, let me first say it's not overwhelming because of the topics. Like, people will have specific topics. If you're a designer, you'll gravitate to the design stage or whatever. So within each topic, there's a small number of speakers. It's just when you put it together, it's a large number. But we have some incredible people coming over. Obviously, our good friend Paul Doherty, who's been a great supporter from the beginning of this community. He's the president of the Digi Group. He's a world leader and a thought leader in BIM and developing smart cities and everything. So it'd be great to have Paul over in Dublin speaking at the event. We've got Jonathan Ingram, who you could probably consider him one of the fathers of BIM. Jonathan wrote the original software that would eventually become Revit and sort of power a lot of the software that people use. We have Kimon and Numa coming from the United States as well. Kimon has been working in this space for 30 years, developing standards and products and using the web. So, I mean, Kimon is talking about enabling web use of BIM rather than desktop use of BIM, years ago, before this even became a thing. Jamie Johnson is sort of working with the UK government in modern methods of construction and platform design, and working with the Digital Construction Hub or Innovation Hub, sorry, in the UK. We've got Rebecca DiCiccio, who is a world driver in the Women in BIM movement, trying to drive equality and diversity. So we've got so many. I can't mention them all, but we'll be here all night, all morning. Sorry, but amazing people who are willing to come over to Dublin and share their knowledge and expertise with the community to grow, the knowledge, the general knowledge within the sector. So it's amazing that these people are contributing what they're contributing. And
yeah, but there's a few Irish people that are considered thought leaders in this area as well. I know that I3PT and Invicara will have some of their
absolutely
there.
Yeah, Claire Penny will be there, and Anand Makari from Invicara doing excellent work around the digital twin. And in fact, they'll be sort of leading the operations stage. And I'm really excited about that, because the use of BIM in operations is still, the adoption in that side of the sector is still very low. And then, we have Vicky Reynolds with i3PT, an incredible company that's driving, so the regulations, the compliance with building regulations, and also developing their own technologies around that area. So yeah, as I said, there's so many incredible people coming over and giving of their time to just drive this community forward. It's
very good. And Ralph, just before we finish up, you touched on it at the start of the interview, but I think it's one of the really interesting aspects of the BIM Summit last year, because it just went all over my social media feed and it was so impactful. The BIM Heroes, what is that and how does it work?
Well, the hero story was really important when we thought about how do we recognize and celebrate people that are doing good work, because the hero story is almost the underlying story of all stories, if you like. It's the hero has to confront reality and chat, or the chaos, and rescue the treasure. So from the dragon, whether that's gold or the fair maiden or whatever. The hero is not the person who's choosing the easy route in life or the pleasurable route in life. The hero is the person who's challenging and doing what's right rather than doing what's easy. So when we thought about who are we going to recognize and appreciate and celebrate in this community, it's those type of people. The people who are doing the right thing, the people who are pursuing good information, quality information, not the people who are taking the easy route out or just following, the traditional way of doing things. And so we created this award, and the purpose was to allow anyone in the community to celebrate somebody they recognized as a leader in this area. And so people can go and nominate somebody for this award, and the person would get a physical award, a medal, and also that's announced on social media. So the person getting the award gets some recognition, which is often great, because you find that the people who are doing this great work are often sitting in the back office somewhere and not being appreciated or recognized. So suddenly they're getting recognition, which is brilliant for them. And then, but also the person or the company that's giving the award gets recognized. So everybody gets something out of it. So it was fantastic. And we've had over 500 people recognized through this award system by industry. Yeah.
I think it's amazing to see the hero's journey. And I think Joseph Campbell would be so proud to see the analogy move from kind of Greek mythology right through digital construction and for building information modeling. So I think that is such a fantastic way to frame it, because actually sometimes when we're telling the technology story, we can forget that actually there is still a story there that needs to be told. So for me, the heroes, bringing the hero's journey into this, I think is so apt. So it's a really important one. Ralph, thank you so much, and well done to yourself and the team at ArcDocs. I'm very much looking forward to September's event. I think it's really exciting, and it really changes the narrative of the struggle for tech adoption into something really celebratory, where the potential is just being unleashed and shared, and just to be able to glimpse at that global potential is really exciting. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Carol. And really looking forward to it, and looking forward to your part in the show as well, which is the immersive technology and the place XR. It's going to be incredible.
Don't worry, Ralph. I understand the brief. We'll bring it. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And that's it from us on Breaking Ground on iProperty Radio this week. My thanks to Ralph Montague of ArcDocs. You can find all information about the BIM Coordinators Summit 2022 online, and you can get in touch with our show here on social media at iProperty Radio or by emailing hello@ipropertyradio.com. My thanks to the Hear Me Roar Media production team and to Luke Delaney on sound for Dublin South FM. Until next time, thank you for listening.